Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Lady Gwyn and Friends. I am Lady Gwyn, and this is our bi-monthly live stream series where I am joined by friends from the fandom to discuss their favorite chapters in A Song of Ice and Fire. And this series is brought to you by our patrons who support our work with regular episodes of Radio Westeros, as well as bonus content, which is exactly what this is. And so if you are interested in joining that group of people for exclusive benefits, you can visit our patreon.com/Radio Westeros. And thank you to all our patrons. And also thanks to people who are with us right now, anyone who is watching in the future, listening in the future to the audio version. We appreciate you spending time with us a lot. So now we're going to welcome our guest for this installment. Here we go. Hello, it's Scad from Davos Fingers.
Hello.
Welcome.
I'm here. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
So grateful to talk. Always to talk to you.
Well, I am so grateful to you for being here. As we were just talking, it's been a while.
It has. Yeah.
Maybe like close to 5 years since you've been with
Yeah.
Radio Westeros.
Yeah,
So
it's been some time. Yeah,
it's been-
we covered Mercy 5 years ago. Yeah, roughly.
yeah, crazy. So yeah, thank you for being back and with another Arya chapter, which is fantastic because yeah, I guess we both love Arya.
I have a chapter type, and that
You
chapter
do.
type is Arya.
That is it.
I am
Okay,
with Warren.
that's fair. Warren, who is in the chat, and I would be surprised if he wasn't number one Arya fan. So, but speaking of Arya and Arya chapters, tell us specifically what the chapter is.
In this chapter, Arya tickles a tickler, provides mercy as she resumes her needlework hobby, helps a wounded puppy, and proves that iron is more valuable than silver.
I love it. That, of course, is Arya 13, Storm of Swords, which is Arya's final chapter in Storm. And it's her final chapter to date set in Westeros. And I love how you made that sound incredibly wholesome. This is not at all really wholesome, as
At
we'll
her
get into.
heart, she is, but
Yeah,
it's rough on the edges.
she wants to be wholesome. So I am really looking forward to this conversation because we, Radio Westeros, have covered this chapter from a lot of different angles. Arya episode, we got a Sandor episode, we even have a Crossroads episode, which is the setting of this chapter. And I have to say that it is also one of my personal favorites. I think it is one of the best chapters in the series, which check with me in a month and it
Yeah,
might
right.
be, but
Yeah.
all right, I'll always have to qualify that. It's in like the top 5. But
Check
seriously,
with Sandor in a month, and he'll be a very grave man. Check with you in a month,
but
and this may not be your favorite chapter. Yeah, you asked me to pick a favorite, and who can? But I've always loved this one. Anyway, keep going, please.
Yeah, it is a favorite, and that is absolutely the message here because none of us can pick the favorite, or I'd be surprised if we could, because there's so many good ones. But I never get tired of this chapter. There's always something new and fresh to talk about it, and I'm really excited to hear your take on it. So, quick reminder for any new listeners here, we are certainly spoilers all books.
Spoilers all books.
So that includes sample chapters, which we will mention, at least in general, one of the Winds of Winter sample chapters. And in general, for book-related content, we are considering only the books, sample chapters included, and words of the author as canon. We try really hard not to mix up book and show canon because, as all of us know, those two diverge quite significantly. So that's it. That's the disclaimer there. And let's get rid of that and let's get started. Quick reminder of the format here. We're going to be doing a short summary of the chapter before we then drill down on some topics or themes or just discussion in general. But I like to start with a rundown of where this chapter fits in relation to the main narrative, and especially with other character arcs, because as we all know, once these characters separate from each other, where the chapter is in the book isn't necessarily a good gauge of when the chapter is. So,
Thanks, George.
yeah, exactly. So causes I'm writing about Bran as an example of that right now. I'm writing about Bran, and I'm on the at the very end of Bran's Dance with Dragons arc, and that Bran chapter, his last one, takes place on the timeline months and months and months before the actual sort of things that happen at the end of A Dance with Dragons. In fact, I'm pretty sure that the first Bran chapter in The Winds of Winter takes place months and months and months before the end of A Dance with Dragons. So
I know you don't want to get distracted by it, but I wonder if that's because he's so far away that
maybe
they need the extra time to get back.
maybe
So he had to anyway.
it's
Sorry.
like the
I'll
speed of light, speed
I'll
of
stop
time,
distracting you.
speed
Yes.
of sound. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But no, we're going to focus on Arya, and we're going to tell you where this chapter fits. So Arya 13, like I said, it's Arya's final chapter in A Storm of Swords. It's bookended with Arya 12, in which she stays in the Mountains of the Moon with Sandor Clegane, and Arya 1 of A Feast for Crows, in which she arrives in Braavos. Within A Storm of Swords, this chapter falls between John 10, which some of you will know what that is if I say Stannis, 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 and Sam, which number? Well, a Sam chapter. The number's off the screen, so I can't read it. 5, thank you, sir. That's Sam's chapter when he's first gotten back to Castle Black after the mutiny at Craster's and all that horror. So they're working on getting a new Lord Commander. Nobody yet, but there is a plan afoot. So as far as the timeline, we are maybe as much as, say, 4 to 6 weeks post Red Wedding. Sansa Stark is in the Vale, where she is about to travel to the Eyrie after witnessing her Aunt Lysa marry Littlefinger at the Fingers. That was the visual witnessing. She also witnessed something else entirely gross with her ears that night. We don't have to talk about that, but I just did. So. At Castle Black, Jon is in the ice cells following the return of Alistair Thorne and Jenna Slint. Boo. Sam is somewhere in between the Night Fort and Castle Black, or maybe so maybe that sort of fits close to kind of where it fit, where on the timeline with the chapters before and after. And then you have Stannis and Melisandre on their way to Castle Black from Eastwatch by the Sea. Never can we put anything within a day, although I've seen lots of timelines that try, but we always have to speak in terms of days or weeks. We got Davos Seaworth heading towards White Harbor with Salador San, and Bran is north of the Wall with the Reeds, Hodor, and their mysterious guide Cold Hands, but they're still just trudging through the snow. Rickon, Shaggy Dog, and Asha are probably getting to Skagos around this time, assuming that is where that theory is correct, and that's where they are. Also in the north, you've got Theon, still a prisoner at the Dreadfort, while in the Iron Islands, Kingsmoot has been held to select his father's successor, and after Euron is selected, Aeron Greyjoy is taken captive, and Asha Greyjoy flees back to Deepwood Motte with a small band of followers. Back in King's Landing, Joffrey's dead, Cersei's preparing her next steps, while Tyrion remains in the Black Cells, accused of Joff's murder. His attempt to clear his name through childlike combat has failed spectacularly, and Oberyn Martell is also dead. Jaime has sent Brienne of Tarth into the Riverlands looking for Sansa, and he witnesses Jane Poole disguised as Arya Stark setting out for the north with Steelshanks Walthen. And in the Riverlands, the Brotherhood without banners have a new leader, and she does not like Freys at all.
I wonder why.
So somehow Merritt Frey is hanged at Old Stones. Down in Dorne, we've got news of Oberyn's death arriving, and people are very upset. They've killed a merchant from King's Landing in the Shadow City. There, Doran travels from the Water Gardens to Sunspear, where he orders the arrest of the Sand Snakes. Quentin Martell has just recently departed from the Planky Town, which is interesting to me, making for Daenerys Targaryen's last known location, somewhere in eastern Essos. Speaking of Dany, in Marine, she has chained 2 of her dragons following the death of a young child. Drogon remains at large, as does Sir Mormont. And I think that's everybody. If I missed anyone, sorry, I didn't mean to ignore you, but that should be most of our point of view characters. So let's move on to our chapter summary.
I just want to say I love those timeline updates because it puts so much into your brain contextually about like what's really happening in the world.
Yeah.
How long has Dany been at Marine while all these other characters are doing all this other stuff? It's amazing. Anyway,
like books and books. Like
it's amazing.
Just months. Yeah, it is. And that one I think is important. That's why the Quentin one, I really like that detail because he's another one that's just sort of like floating in time. Like what is this?
It's disconnected from a lot for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why we do it. I mean, it gets within Arya's arc, of course, it gets a lot more important in her very next chapter when she's also disconnected from Westeros.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to sometimes say, but there's always little clues. Even when they're not so much in Dany, but in the Arya chapters, you always get a little clue about what's happening back home. So this one, let's start. I'll kick us off, and with our summary, we're going to go through summarize. So that everybody knows what's happening on page. We're going to paint a picture with words. Probably not as good as George because we're summarizing his words, but we'll do our best. So in this chapter, the very beginning, Arya and Sandor arrive at the inn at the crossroads, greeted by Masha Heddle's bones still hanging from their gibbet. If we go back to Tyrion 9 of the Game of Thrones, that's just about on the timeline. That's almost exactly a year since Tyrion was at the inn and last saw Masha Heddle's bones hanging there. So she's hanging in there, I guess. Oh, sorry. Arya recognizes the place from when she stayed there with her family during their trip south to King's Landing, and she doesn't want to go in because she thinks there might be ghosts, and frankly, I don't blame her. But Sandor really wants wine and news. Specifically, he needs to know who holds the Ruby Ford. So I think maybe he wants wine more. So he's going to go in no matter what. So in he goes.
And who doesn't want the wine more? Arya is left with the horses. She thinks she could escape. I think George gives us one of her trademark lip bites here. She thinks about it. If not, he very easily could have. She's very much considering this, those moments where she has some indecision. That's usually what happens. But she decides to follow him inside instead. And she immediately realizes that he's been recognized. They know him. Which isn't surprising, since she recognizes some of them as well. It's Polliver and the Tickler. And she doesn't recognize this guy. A pimply squire.
This poor kid.
Yes.
Remembered mainly for his giant nose pimple.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He's a squire from House Sarsfield. Let's just say that. We acknowledge who he really is.
You're better than me. I forgot him the minute that pimple popped.
We'll get there because that is a great moment. Well, I think the innkeeper must have recognized Sandor Clegane, and who wouldn't? He doesn't want any trouble. And to be fair, at the beginning, it seems like maybe the Tickler doesn't really want any trouble either. But that squire, either wants trouble or he's incredibly stupid, because he proceeds to say a lot of stupid things. Like he recognizes Sandor and wonders if it's Sir's puppy brother and yada, 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 and ends up, one of the things he says is, Sir said his puppy brother tucked his tail between his legs when the battle got too warm at King's Landing. He said he ran off whimpering. Now, to Sandor's credit, he doesn't react because he's there for the wine and the news. But there's this moment when I think it's either Paul, obviously, I don't know which one of them it is, probably the tickler, just takes the squire's ear and just like, shut up, kid. Like, why are you stupid? I guess he is. But anyways.
Yeah. To Arya's credit, she recognizes that the tickler's trying to shut this kid up, but he has no clue.
No self-awareness.
Sandor warns the innkeeper that these people aren't going to pay, that they're going to, in fact, rob him after they're done, which makes him and the girls that had been sitting on their laps hoping for gold and favors and other things, I suspect, and all the locals to make themselves scarce. And so it's just the five of them. Showdown, tombstone,
boom, boom, boom.
just the five of them in that room.
I wish I had some like great Western showdown music here, but envision that, if you will, because that's literally what's about to happen. But I mean, Arya thinks that they should go too, but Sandor wants his news and his wine. He just got his wine, and he's gonna drink his wine, for God's sakes.
Relatable.
Yeah. For the most part, Polliver's happy to oblige with giving him news. He's got thoughts. He tells them that Joffrey's dead. That's news. And Tyrion and Sansa are accused of killing him. Gregor's been summoned to Harrenhal from King's Landing. Now, Joffrey's dead is big news, but Sansa gets kind of stuck on... Arya gets kind of stuck on Sansa being married to Tyrion. To her, that's the real news. She's like, why would Sansa marry the imp?
We were all stuck on that.
Poor, sweet little innocent just thinks that this was some sort of choice, I guess. I don't know. Sandor is also surprised about this, and he reacts to that particular news with the very savage wish that Cersei should torture Tyrion until the moon turns black. Now, Arya interprets this as Sandor being just as cruel as Gregor's men, and she doesn't really understand his reasons why he's reacting so strongly. But we know, the readers can guess why he's reacting like that. Arya, speaking of emotion, doesn't really feel any emotion about Joffrey's death. She just keeps thinking about why Sansa wouldn't marry Tyrion.
There's some interesting stuff in there that we may get to. Sandor asks about Harrenhal specifically, and when Polliver says they took it from Vargo Hoat and put the whole cast with the sword, Arya reacts with surprise. All of them? He says they killed all of them. All of them? We don't know. It's a little hard to read. It's one of the questions I have about this chapter. Is she happy, alarmed, just amazed that you'd kill so many people in one swoop like that? Not sure. Sandor also asks about River Run and the Blackfish. You get the sense he's getting the lay of the land, planning what directions are safe, where to go, all of that with Arya. What are his options?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. So he gets back to Sansa after this asking, this series of questions, which isn't really suspicious because he was Joffrey's sworn shield. So, he knew her, and she's accused of killing Joffrey, who he was with for many years, presumably. So there is a great passage here, which I'm going to ask you to read to us.
I'm so happy to do it. The little bird flew away, did she? Well, bloody good for her. She shit on the imp's head and flew off. They'll find her, said Polliver. If it takes half the gold in Casterly Rock. A pretty girl, I hear, said the tickler. Honey, sweet. He smacked his lips and smiled. And courteous, the hound agreed. A proper little lady. Not like a bloody sister. They found her too, said Polliver. The sister. She's for Bolton's bastard, I hear.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Really,
I don't know.
that was great. Thank you. I love having the Tickler and Polliver have voices now, and Sandor, obviously. But the Tickler and Polliver voices were very creepy. But about that last bit of news, once again, Arya is pretty puzzled, and she's just sort of like holds her wine cup in front of her face, and she's thinking, Sansa doesn't have another sister. Like, what's going on here? She just can't figure this out. But Sandor gets it. He laughs out loud. He thinks that is hilarious. And of course, they ask him, "Why are you laughing?" And he's, if I wanted you to know, I would have told you. And he changes the subject. Asks about salt pans, which they don't know anything about. Polliver's like, "Why are you asking about salt pans? What are you trying to leave?" And he tells him that Randall Tarley's at Maidenpool. But you know what? The Tickler actually thinks that Sandor should go back to Harrenhal with them. Or maybe even to King's Landing to see his big brother. To which Sandor says, "Nope."
Yeah, that's not happening. Then, as Arya observes, everything seemed to happen at once. The Tickler reaches behind his back and throws a knife across the room, but misses Sandor. Sandor laughs and draws his sword. So now Polliver's there with a long sword and immediately dives in to attack. The steel song begins. The Tickler has a dagger and a short sword. The squire tries to get up and get in on the action too, but Arya throws a wine cup at him, hits him right in that white pimple on his nose, and he gets knocked to the ground, at least temporarily. Arya's alarmed, right? Her little brain is processing very quickly. Sandor drank a lot. We get details about the muscles of his throat working to get the wine down as quickly as possible. He's affected already. And he's in a fight against two people. So she throws another wine cup at the Tickler, but misses. And it says, the look he gave her then was cold with promise. Oh. Sandor then takes a sword cut to the head, and the squire is back on his feet again.
Oh, that's
happened so quickly.
But it all happened at once. I read somewhere a description, and it actually might have been just recently in The Last Kingdom, because I'm rereading the whole Bernard Cornwell's Last Kingdom series this year. And it was something about how, when a battle happens, your brain tries to put everything in a chronology, but it actually is all happening at once. So in order to tell the story, you have to put it in order, but
yes,
that's really how it is. That's not how it plays out. Literally, it's all happening at once. And by the way, George really, really admires Bernard Cornwell's skills at writing battles and fight scenes. And we can talk about that more later. Yeah. Okay, so Sandor's taking more cuts, and Arya tries to throw a knife, but she does it really badly. It just sort of like wobbles, and she thinks, "Oh, that's not as easy as it looked."
I almost picture her throwing it like this, right? like blade and handle, and just like
it's just like, I don't just throw it, like something, maybe. So as good as a knife that isn't thrown point first, she grabs the wine her wine flagon as her next missile, but the squire's there holding her arm in one hand and the sword in the other. So she drops the flagon, grabs the squire out of the squire's own knife from his belt, and buries it in his stomach, which is, she thinks about, and we think about, very, very reminiscent of the first person she killed, who's that stable boy back in King's Landing. So we'll talk about that more later too. With the squire down again, she grabs the Tickler's knife from the wall where it landed after he had first thrown it and missed.
That's right.
Now she's armed again.
Yeah, very aware, of what her availability of weapons is. Sandor, though, is struggling. He's been fighting two men, essentially, drunk as well, apparently. He nearly finished off. The two men are urging him to surrender. They really want to take him in. He refuses and tells them to come and get him if they want him. Polliver tells him he's drunk. Sandor's reply, might be, but you're dead. And so he was.
He was. I love the description of his death, where his head sort of, Sandor cuts him in the head, and half of his head just flies away. So
I love the little detail of kicking the bench at his legs, and I can almost see the way it's written. I can see Polliver's body almost like doubling forward to catch the bench on his legs.
Yep.
And then he's just flailing out.
Yep.
Right, wildly, and then just presents that head for that cut. We'll come back to it. Keep going.
We will, and it is good. But let's not forget, George was very specific about this. Polliver had a long sword, but the Tickler had a short sword. So now that Polliver's down, the Tickler is pretty nervous, because short sword versus a long sword, even if your opponent is drunk, and let's not forget your opponent just cut your friend's head in half, it's not exactly a fair fight. So you've got the Tickler focused intently on this dangerous wounded beast in front of him. And it says, it was the easiest thing in the world for Arya to step up behind him and stab him with his own knife.
Yeah, and then what follows is easily one of my favorite passages of the entire series. Satisfying in a way, but incredibly disturbing, as Arya pounces on the body and stabs him repeatedly while asking him his own trademark questions back at him while she does it. And Sandor finally has to rip her off of the body. Sandor's in rough shape, but there's still one more. The Squire is not dead yet. He's not dead yet. I'm getting better. He's not getting better.
It's literally the exchange between them.
He insists that he can get better if they take him to a maester. Anyway, he's begging for mercy, not the kind of mercy that they're about to give him. Sandor points out that this is a stomach wound. He's not. No maester's going to help. This Squire is pining for the fjords. He's as good as dead, and tells Arya to take care of it. This one's yours, she-wolf. You do it. And so she does. But she doesn't use the dagger that she used on the Tickler, does she?
No, she does not. No. I'm going to tell you what she uses. I'm going to read it. But I'm going to pause right here and let you read this part. You know the part. Oh, shoot. You know the part I mean, except I just obliterated
technology.
Okay.
Yeah, I got you.
Seriously. It says, Arya went to Polliver and knelt in his blood long enough to undo his sword belt. Hanging beside his dagger was a slimmer blade, too long to be a dirk, too short to be a man's sword, but it felt just right in her hand.
You remember where the heart is? The Hound asked. She nodded. The Squire rolled his eyes. Mercy.
Needle slipped between his ribs and gave it to him. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah. Now that Sandor knows the lay of the land from the questions he got answered, he wants to make for salt pans. We'll come back to more of that detail later, probably. But Sandor's in bad shape. He instructs Arya to grab a bunch of stuff from the bodies, wine, other supplies. They set out cross country and then reach the banks of the Trident by late in the day. They find a place to make camp, and he tells her to take care of his wounds and instructs her how to do so. She does it. She binds up all of his cuts. They soak them in wine, trying to treat them, with the alcohol there. He passes out from the pain, but she keeps the fire burning, tethers the horses, takes care of everything, settles down to sleep. But then she says her prayer. Sir Gregor the Mountain, she said softly. Dunson, Ralph the Sweetling, Sir Ilyn, Sir Meryn, Queen Cersei. She thinks how strange it is to not say Polliver in the tickler. And Joffrey, too. She kind of wishes that she'd been the one to kill Joff, and seems a bit miffed that Sansa, according to Polliver, had done it instead. She's thinking about Sansa when she also realizes that she left one Sandor off her list as well. She doesn't know why, but even thinking about Micah to try to bring back that anger doesn't make her as angry as she thinks it should.
Yeah. She actually thinks to herself that she can't remember what he looked like, and she thinks she hadn't known him long. All he ever did was play at swords with me. We'll talk about this more. This is a very dramatic change from "you killed Micah" and, the tone of everything up to this point. So she does end up saying his name, but she follows it with the words Valar Morghulis, which, to point out, she still doesn't know what those two words mean. And she wonders if he's going to survive the night, which he did. But by noon the next day, fever had set in. And when they called the halt and he got down from his horse, he actually collapsed and had to crawl over to sit underneath a tree where Arya examined him. She's sort of copying everything she might have seen Maester Luwin do back at home. She can see that he's fevered. She can tell that he's fevered, and she smells his wounds. And even though the head wound is the one that bled the most, which, good job, George, she thinks that the leg smells funny. So things not looking good for Sandor. So she's thinking about salt pans. She doesn't really know where it is. She wonders if she just rides away, what would happen? I mean, she pretty much knows that he's going to die. So she wonders, why doesn't she just kill him? He's there. He's right there. He's helpless, basically. And it would be the easiest thing in the world to just kill him. She killed the squire. That was pretty easy. And she doesn't really think about the tickler, but that wasn't very hard either. Just ending it was the hard part, I think. She tries to think about Micah to make herself angry and just convince herself that it would be the right thing to do. And yeah.
Yeah. He's right there. He's right there, as Egg says.
Exactly.
Many decades previously. She, even in trying to convince herself, draws needle. It takes that water dancer's stance, thinking about serious lessons. And Sandor, instinctually, I guess, he's got a self-preservation that won't die. He opens his eyes. You remember where the heart is? When she denies what she was thinking, he's quick to try to convince her. Don't lie, he growled. I hate liars. I hate gutless frauds, even worse. Go on. Do it. He brings up Micah, trying to get her angry enough to do it. It doesn't work. In the end, Arya tells him, you don't deserve the gift of mercy, and prepares to ride away. He tries again, but she turns her back and leaves, never even looking back.
Yeah. Thus ends the Arya and Sandor show, I guess.
Does.
So
For now.
Right. We'll see. To be continued. So the chapter continues, though. 6 days later, she arrives in Salt Pans. She's got no money, and she sees that there are some ships at the dock, although 2 of them are river runners. Just one of them seems to be a seafaring ship. But she knows she needs money, so she is forced to sell her horse. And of course, since she's just a little raggedy girl with a pretty nice horse, which in a prior chapter we'd seen her getting, this horse was somebody left over from the Red Wedding. It was wandering. It was somebody who died, probably. But it's a knight's horse, probably. So obviously, the person she's selling it to assumes that she's stolen it, and takes advantage of her, which really annoys her. She can't believe it. she's really mad, and we'll definitely get back to this detail later. But she, the first thing she thinks of is maybe she should just kill this person.
Yeah.
So that's literally the number one thought.
Wonderful.
Okay.
That's exactly what you want going through your head.
Oh,
Listen, I got taken for a Prius about 15 years ago, and I felt pretty similar.
Yeah.
I was overpaid, and
Yep.
the captain, the captain of the Titan's daughter, it's not enough money to change the game for him. He's going home. He mentions that home is Bravos, that's where he's headed, and she remembers something back, in the back of her brain. Jockin gave her a coin, and she also recalls what Jockin told her to say, and she says it, Valar Morgulis, as she hands over the coin. The change in the captain's demeanor when he sees the coin is like immediate, together with the words, Valar Doheris, he replied, touching his brow with his fingers. Of course you shall have a cabin. What?
That's it. It's the end. So,
oh my gosh.
From absolutely not, no way, you're not getting on my ship, to sure, you can have my cabin, because you get a galley probably only has one cabin. Maybe two.
Yeah,
if they're
you shall have the cabin. It's a big flip. It's a big flip.
So that's that.
From a single piece of iron.
Yeah.
And
it's
2
just
words.
No idea. Neither do we. Well, we do, but
we know some.
If you were the first time reader, you have literally no idea, as we will discuss.
Yeah, I still don't know enough. I still feel like I don't know enough.
No, we know enough to fill in some blanks.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we still don't know like all the ins and outs of it. But it's obvious that the person that gave her that coin, or wherever that coin came from, pulls a lot of weight. Bravos.
Yeah,
we can safely assume that. So that's it. That's the end of Arya for until the next book, which in real world terms was about 5 years, which actually we'll mention later too. Which doesn't seem all that bad in hindsight. Probably at the time people were like, what's going on with Arya? But Arya, it was in A Feast for Crows, which a lot of characters weren't. A lot of characters whose arcs ended right there, however they ended in Storm Swords, you didn't see them until for 11 years.
How long have we been waiting for Brienne? How long for that word? How long?
So Feast. When did Feast come out?
2009 was it?
No,
8?
It had to be earlier because Storm.
Yeah.
Dance was 2011. I think maybe
11.
6.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
No, we said it. It's in this document. 5 years. It's 2005. Because
Okay.
between Storm and Feast is 5 years. So we've been waiting for 20 years. Poor Podrick Payne and Brienne have been dangling from the ends of their respective ropes for 20 years.
Their necks are very strong.
Yeah, at this point, they're probably not even dangling anymore. They've probably been doing pull-ups or whatever. Yeah, I'm sure they're fine. Back to Arya. Let's dig deep into some things. We have a lot of bullet points here, and we'll get through as many as we can. Starting with, they walk into this, man walks into a bar, and everyone knows him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get the sense from the very beginning of this chapter that there's some unease with Arya. Like, we shouldn't go in there. She's warning him. What if they recognize, that kind of thing. But still, George has this masterful way of just with a single line, she walks in there, they know him, in italics. And it just, I say it on the Davos Fingers podcast a lot, just kind of flips you like immediately. Mm-hmm. You sit forward, you're like, okay, it's on. There's something going on here. Like, you're you go from, okay, I'm reading along, whoa. And I love it. It's one of my favorite things that George does. He just has these ways. You're involved already. You're paying attention, but he has this way to like escalate your attention with these single lines.
Yes.
And I just love it.
And more often than not, they're the ones that are in italics, or often.
Yes, frequently they are. Yeah,
Like,
it's true.
Whoa. Yeah. So I agree. I think it's great. It's a great example of George's skill as a writer, which is superior. So
Yeah.
So
Say the least.
we get in there, and it's basically Westeros news. Maybe a version of Radio Westeros, shall we say, but with the Mountains Men, who we would never allow on this podcast. So they're going to have their own podcast if they want to do Westeros Radio.
That's right.
And our name is trademarked, so figure it out, guys. Some of the news we know. Some of it is new to us. Sometimes we, the reader, know more than they do. Like, for instance, that Gregor has actually been killed by Oberyn Martell, who is also dead. They didn't even know why Sir got called to King's Landing. I mean, they just know that the Queen sent for him and he went. So
sure.
So yeah, they're a little behind the times in some things, but they do have news that's certainly of value to Arya and Sandor.
Yeah, and they're very willing to give it too, which is a little. It's kind of like it reminds me of in Wayne's World. They come up to it's Chris Farley actually playing like the bouncer or the security guard or whatever for Mr. Big. And he's like, and he just gives them like their whole itinerary of what his boss is going to do for like no reason. Like, why do you have to share all of that? And they're like, amazing that he gave us all that. It seemed extraneous at the time. Why is Polliver so willing? I wonder if it's just because he's feeling the situation out, delaying this whole thing, letting it marinate and see what the options are.
Yeah, maybe. I'll tell you, I thought of like this scene kind of reminds me of a Tarantino film. Well, especially given what happens afterwards.
Yeah.
But just like this, but like the dialogue here too is just very like, yeah, it's very typical of that, where you have this sort of like maybe feeling each other out dialogue before everything suddenly erupts into violence. So.
Like there's a subtext. It's just news, but there's a subtext to all of the news that is like got this violent undercurrent to it. Yeah, I like the Tarantino comparison. That's good.
Well, the violence does lend itself.
Yeah.
So, so we've got news that he needs to have, and then news that he just gets that is interesting. Right.
Yeah. He needs to know who controls the Ruby Ford, which implies to me that he's intending to go south. I don't know exactly why. I thought, as I was thinking about it, I was like, maybe he intended to go south of the river to get to Maidenpool, where there would be more reliable boats. Maybe, and as he learns, that Maidenpool is, well, that the Ruby Ford is, controlled by his brother and his men, that maybe then Salt Pans almost becomes the backup as he asks about other regions as well, right?
Yeah, he does. He asks about the Blackfish. So you can see that he's sort of like
he's working through the options.
What can I do with this kid?
Well,
like, she's a pain in my ass. Like, like, where can I unload her?
Oh, she's such a pain in the ass. Yeah. Our little Arya.
Yeah, but that I love the part where he talks about bringing her to the Vale, which I think I have in our notes, like way further down. But since we're here, we might as well.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, he's planning. The whole point of Salt Pans, after he realizes he can't go to Maidenpool, he's not going to be going to River Run because it's under siege. He's going to go to Salt Pans and take ship for the Vale. And he says, maybe Lady Lysa will marry you to her little proper.
Oh my gosh. That kid wouldn't survive a night.
Oh, God.
With Arya.
Yeah. So.
Sansa's so patient with that kid.
Yes.
Arya would have none of that.
No.
No.
It would be snow castle scenes
Yeah.
all day, every day, 24/7. Yeah.
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 Of course, Peter has plans for Robert already,
Mm-hmm.
which,
They don't know, but we do.
Yeah, they don't know.
We do. We
Yes.
do. At that point in the story, we do know what the plans are, and we can be like, "Oh, that's not a good idea, Sandor."
Yeah.
But
still,
you
they're
know,
all options, right? It's
yeah.
relatives at River Run, relatives at the Vale. Arya,
Mhm.
even in the previous chapter, brings up going to the Wall. I think it was the
Yeah.
previous chapter.
That's where
maybe
she wants to go.
that's where she'd like to go.
Mhm.
A different man than Sandor might take her up on that. The Wall, it doesn't seem that bad compared to everything else. Like, you look at this map, like if you just look at it as a map, and there's like no safe direction for him to go anywhere.
Right. Right.
So like the Wall doesn't sound that bad, except Sandor would hate the Wall and he'd kill everyone up there.
Right. And the little tricky part about the whatever it is, 1,000 leagues or something.
Yeah,
however
it's
long
forever
it is,
away.
it's a bit far away, but that's where Arya wants to go, and it would really make the most sense. But
yeah, it's an interesting thing. Sandor's treading this interesting line, or moving between this interesting line of like getting paid, living, and also helping this girl, which I think he cares about her more than he's letting on. I don't think he wants to do anything with her that wouldn't help her.
Mhm.
But he also doesn't want to travel 1 billion miles to do it for those other first two reasons, right?
Yeah. So it's like, River Run? No. So, the only other relative that he's aware of south of the Wall, of course, is Lysa. Well, it's unfortunate that he doesn't know how insane Lysa Arryn really is. 'Cause if he had, he might have made a different choice. Like, think about it. If he had known her better during their years, I assume they were adjacent in King's Landing before her.
Yeah, before she left.
Yeah, before she left.
Right.
If he had gotten a better sense that she was batshit, maybe he would have chosen differently. Maybe he would have thought, you know what? Sneaking up to the Wall sounds pretty good. But
I feel like Lysa hid the batshit pretty well, though.
Yeah, she probably did. Did. Yeah. So, oh well. We, the reader, are just, trying to make things turn out differently for once, and they don't. So
they do not.
It is what it is. So they go in the direction they go. As a point of analysis, I really like the bit where Gregor is always called Sir by his men, as if that's his first name. Sir did this. Sir said that. You need to come see Sir. It's not Sir Gregor. It's not used as a title. It's just like his name. But then Sandor gets called Sir, and he violently threatens anyone who calls him Sir in this scene. I think 3 times he's like, "Don't call, I'll kill you if you call me Sir again." So a stark reminder that Sandor doesn't want to be anything like his brother, but also it's not just limited to his brother, although that has a lot to do with it.
A stark reminder.
Yeah, I know. I can't resist using
that's
those.
hard. I think it's pretty. I mean, obviously this is a traumatized individual that's been hurt by this person, his brother, over the years in egregious ways.
Mhm.
And everything about Gregor needles and rankles him. And the Sir component just becomes an easily relatable symbol for all of that he can just throw out to the entire world that knows about knighthood and holds it up on something high. And I mean, I think he, even for them accepting Gregor as a knight, he blames that entire faction of people, knights in general.
Yep.
He uses it as a reason to stiff the ferryman of Old King Endahar, the ferry that they take a few chapters earlier, and says you should never trust a knight. What are you thinking? It's like you did this, Sandor. Like, he's so far removed from thinking knights are okay that he's willing to stack his own actions against them. This is how much he hates that entire order. And it all stems from Gregor.
Mm-hmm.
All of
Yep.
it from that history. And I'm somebody in the fandom that is pretty hard on Sandor comparatively, I think, more than most.
Yeah.
And I've been called to the mat for it a few times. But I think this is one of those places where you can say it's all trauma. All of it. This Sir example is just an easily identifiable way for us to say, this guy's broken.
Mm-hmm.
Like his rationale for being so violently opposed to this one word is so strange, but so explicable when you look at the past, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Imagine, he's a little boy. He used to play with his toy knights.
Yes.
That's one of the
right.
details that really,
Perfect. Yeah.
really gets me,
Yeah.
So imagine he's like Bran, because he's about 7, somewhere in that Bran age group when Gregor
Mm-hmm.
brutalizes him. So he's there, he's playing with his little toy knights, and then, well, actually it was Gregor's toy knight, wasn't it? That was the problem.
Oh,
Yeah, it was Gregor's
good
knight.
memory.
And
Yeah.
even though he was he's a squire by now, he's 15, 16 years old, and he doesn't
Had
play
no
toys
interest in the
anymore.
toy.
No interest, but he's
Yeah.
just such a bully and a brute that is just because it's his. He maims his little brother. So that knighthood thing, the toy knight, and then Gregor very soon afterwards gets knighted by
yeah.
Prince Rhaegar Targaryen,
Oh, I forgot that
of all
part.
people.
Hmm.
And you've got this wounded, traumatized little boy who's like, well, screw knights. I'm first of all,
Yeah.
it was his love of knighthood which led to the
Yes.
thing in the first place. And
Yeah,
then,
that's a stick right there.
Yep.
Slap the wrist. Don't like knights. Look what happens when you like knights.
Yeah, exactly. And don't hope that a knight is going to come and help you now that this has happened to you, because look, your brother, the one who did it, is now a knight. So yeah, that's my empathy for Sandor, little boy Sandor.
Mm-hmm.
Let's turn our attention to Arya for a minute,
Mm-hmm.
because I think this is a turning point. I think, in the week's chapter and in the weeks prior, which is the chapter just before this, in the weeks prior, she's been described as basically numb. So ever since the Red Wedding, there was the one chapter where they were at the twins and she gets hit in the head with an axe.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have this one very long chapter which describes them just sort of wandering the wasteland, basically. And she's just numb and doesn't care about anything, even to the beginning of this chapter where she couldn't summon any emotion or satisfaction that she thought she would have over Joffrey's death. But once she stabs that squire, things really seem to change. She's changing, her outlook on things is changing. And I will, plug our episode about the crossroads,
Mm-hmm.
where we point out that the crossroads in general in A Song of Ice and Fire means, and in real life too, it's not just A Song of Ice and Fire, but yeah, crossroads indicates change. You come to a crossroads in your life, you have to make a decision, A or B, so there's some kind of change. You come to a crossroads that is literal, not metaphorical. You have to turn left or right or go straight or go back. I mean, it literally is a definition of change. So
even when you choose to go straight, you're ignoring options. Even when you choose to go on the path you were on, you're ignoring these other choices, right? And by doing so, making a choice, right?
Yeah.
So it's I love that Crossroads episode. I remember listening to it when it came out years and years and years.
It's a lot too many years ago.
But I really liked it then. I think it was wonderful. And more here for Arya, right? Since she stabbed the stable boy, and had that brief period of, you know, it was awful for her, of course, but she was in charge of her own life on the streets of King's Landing.
Mhm.
Then she gets picked up by Yoren, and her life has been, some more benevolent than others, but largely in control or controlled by other people, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And over the time, yeah, she loses Needle over time. She's not able to really to do the things she wants. She's just a little girl with the inability to change her fate. And she's now here in this moment. It's funny in the chapter, it doesn't say that she recognizes that the sword on his hip is Needle in the moment. Almost even in that moment, almost like she's still not choosing to recognize, like, this is Arya, this is me, just noticing the blade and not owning it or
Mhm.
needing it or wanting it, just noticing it.
Yep.
And then as she stabs the squire, like you say, there's an ownership switch that happens where she's taking controlling her destiny a little bit, and going over, instead of just taking care of the squire with the tool she has at hand, going and taking Needle. It's a symbolic move for sure that
Mhm.
shows she's going to be taking some more control over her life, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. And a good thing she got that opportunity, because let's talk about the unspoken things that must
Mhm.
be in her head as she's watching Polliver and Tickler apparently getting the best of the hound. She
Yeah.
thinks they're killing him,
Yep.
which, if you take it a step further, that's only going to lead to one outcome for her, unless, well, there is a second outcome in which they also kill her, but unlikely given the past. So yeah, I think the what's got to be in her head at this moment is they kill Sandor Clegane. She is once again a captive of the Mountains Men at Harrenhal. Holy cow!
Yeah. Yep. Yes. She's a captive now of Sandor. And it's interesting to see it click in her brain that, yeah, without getting too political, there's bad. And then there's really, really bad. Right? Sandor's not a great guy. He doesn't treat her well. He, calls her all sorts of bad names and yells at her and makes her do stuff. The Mountains Men are bad, bad, bad. And she can, Arya's smart. Every time I talk about her, I say it. She's very smart. She can tell the difference.
Mm-hmm.
And it's brought up in that little moment when she throws the cup at the tickler, and you gave the quote in the chapter summary. The look he gave her was cold with promise. Is there gold in the village? She could hear him ask. Like, it's chilling. Like, that's exactly where her mind goes. If I don't help, this is what's going to happen to me.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And by the way, is there gold in the village?
Yeah.
Is in italics, and it gives us the chills.
Yes.
Because we know
Yeah.
what that means, and it's bleak. It's truly bleak, and yeah, that's the moment when she realizes she's got to help. She has got to save Sandor's life in this moment. So I think she's coming kind of full circle in a way. The stabbing of that squire
Mm-hmm.
we were talking about before has brought us back to that, the original stable boy in King's
Mm-hmm.
Landing. So um did you had one more thing about the tickler? I don't know if we already, yeah, no, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know how important it is really,
Mm-hmm.
but the way she attacks the tickler,
Mm.
she's already stuck the dagger in the back. The hound could easily finish him off. But I think the way that George lays out this scene gives us a view, like a crucial little look into Arya's actual state in her head. Even in her POV, like we get her POV, like we have her thoughts. We don't. She's masking so much of this. She's hiding so much of this trauma every day that she's not dealing with. And, adults struggle with this stuff all the time, dealing with trauma. Kids, without any direction, they can't process this stuff. And so what we have is an unhinged attack on this person that for sure, like deserves it. I'm not saying I pity him or whatever, but it's an unhinged attack that her psyche is just letting loose this stuff that she has no clue how to deal with, no idea how to process. And this is the result. And it's this whole experience of her through the Riverlands, probably with the lowest point being the tickler, is just laid bare in front of us when she hides so much of it. And we all think, oh, she's so smart. She's so clever. She's so resourceful. This is what's underneath. This is what she's hiding. And it's terrifying and sad. And I just wanted to note it.
It is. And that's, it's what my take was, that it's incredibly satisfying to see the tickler die, but it's very, very disturbing to see the manner of his death.
Yes.
We will see, and we're going to talk about this in a second, we will see the next opportunity, not exactly maybe not the next, maybe the second to next opportunity she has to bring justice or whatever to somebody. It's the next one from her list, certainly, which is in the Mercy chapter. Her approach is very different. So
calculated.
Maybe it's much more calculated, planned out.
Which is scarier.
Yes.
Really.
She kind of gets it under control, and it's much more focused, and she's thought it through, and she knows exactly what she's doing. Whereas here you could make the argument that she was acting out of self-preservation and indeed, her trauma, and that a lot of it is just bursting forth and she's not really controlling it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's disturbing and distressing. But next up, I want to talk about Mercy, because Mercy is such an important part of Arya's arc. It's mentioned many, many, many times, and of course, leading up to the Mercy chapter in the Winds of Winter. Sandor, just in the previous chapter, has taught her how to give the gift of mercy. They found, a dying soldier in the Riverlands and helped him, like literally someone who recognized Sandor as Joffrey's dog, and it doesn't matter. Oh, said, used to be, not anymore. My own dog now, and they give him the gift of mercy because he's dying, probably from some sort of, either infection like Sandor had, or maybe a gut wound like the Squire had. In any case, she learns how to do it, and she does it again, which is why Sandor says to her twice in this chapter, "Do you remember where the heart is?" That's what he taught her, how to slip a knife right between those ribs and just give a swift, painless death. So all these things are leading up to that Mercy chapter in the Winds of Winter, which has a very strong connection to this chapter. And not just about mercy either, and all the things, but also the actual that's a visual. So if you're listening, it's the blade too. So
the blade
that brings the mercy.
The blade that brings the mercy. And yeah, that Mercy chapter, those listening might remember that Radio Westeros was nice enough to have me on to talk about the Mercy chapter when they did their Streams of Winter stuff 5 years ago. And it was such a good time. I went and re-listened to some of that earlier today. But yeah, it's interesting. That's a name she's chosen for herself, Mercy, in that chapter. I know we're not covering that chapter, but you wonder how much this whole Mercy conversation and focus with Sandor has just kind of imprinted itself on her. She's gone through this whole training with the House of Black and White. Still, she picks Mercy as her name, which is striking for some reasons that I don't know if I can really even articulate. But in that chapter, another mark against her list, which, as you said, very different than this one, where she proactively plans it out and makes it happen, whereas this one is very much reaction and self-preservation, if you want to call it that. But yeah, I mean, after all she's been through in that Mercy chapter, she's still intent on this list. After all she's learned about Mercy, and after being on her own in the House of Black and White, it's still the list. And just, it kills me.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, it's, there's a lot of question about, how, whether she will actually get to finish her list, because I think notably her list has shrunk quite a bit through no action of hers.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you look at the ones that are left, we had them up here. Obviously, well, Dunson. I fear for Dunson. Not gonna lie.
I don't even know where that dude is. You'd have to tell me.
I don't either. I don't know. I think he might be somewhere in the Riverlands, or maybe he's in King's Landing with what's his name? John Connington's cousin there. Yeah, Red Bonnet. Because that's Raph was with him too. So, anyways, Raph the Sweetling, R.I.P. Sir Ilyn, Sir Meryn, Queen Cersei. I mean, that's it. That's it. So,
Meryn's going to die of a heart attack before she ever gets to him.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
He's going to eat a bad potato or something. Like, I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, we talked in that Mercy episode, we talked about this quite a bit, and whether we even like we hope she can move past that as her motivation.
Yeah.
With some sort of time gap or travel or finding Nymeria. We talked about a lot of stuff in that episode about that, but
yeah,
hopefully she can move past it.
Maybe. I mentioned Dunson, and no one knows where he is, and I think it's a pretty good bet that Meryn's gonna die, and Cersei's death doesn't seem like it's gonna have anything to do with Arya, really.
Probably not.
Ilyn Payne or Dunson. Let's think about that. What if one of them is the last person on her list, and she finds them and just doesn't need to kill them? I mean, that would be ideal.
Would it be a thing where she's been through so much trauma and she's just like, kind of like Micah in this chapter, where she can't even picture him?
Right.
Where she's like, Dunson, what did that guy even do to me?
Why did I want to kill this guy? I have forgotten.
Ilyn was just doing his job. He didn't do anything to me other than his job, which, as like if she's 15 or 16 or something, as she gets older, he had to do that. He didn't hurt me directly. He was part of this whole big thing that I now understand better. But I got to tell you, LG, I don't even remember what Dunson did. I've been covering this thing semi-professionally for like 12 years or something. I can't remember. I can't tell you what Dunson did. I don't know.
I mean, just existing? One of the Mountains Men? I don't think he did anything specifically to her.
I feel like as an Arya fanboy, I should know what Dunson did to hurt Arya, but I can't tell you.
Chat, if anyone in the chat knows, please enlighten us, because poor Dunson, we don't know. Other than the guy he worked for, a lot like Ilyn Payne,
right?
He's on a list. He's on a death list just because of his job, and that's that's
right.
Okay, so well, I think the thing that really mostly confirms that this is a turning point, and also that it connects this directly with the Mercy chapter, other than the word mercy, is the reappearance of Needle.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we see that when her Stark identity sort of reasserts itself. Certainly in Mercy, that's what's happening. She's been claiming not to be Arya Stark, although we have lots of reasons and little hints to suspect that that's not true. She's just learning how to lie really well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, when Needle comes back, she is Arya 100% again. And here, it's not that she hasn't been Arya, or that she's been trying to hide that fact, although she's sort of kind of is, because she's valuable as a target or what have you, to other people besides Sandor Clegane.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it's just getting Needle back in this chapter, just sort of gives her that confidence. Yeah, confidence in who she is, and acting on that.
She's been without Needle for a long time, and in all that time, she's basically been the object of a sentence.
Yep.
And she grabs it, and she can now be the noun of a sentence. And even in when she goes to Bravos and she chooses to temporarily bury it, she's basically saying, I am of this house. I am a secondary thing. I am learning. I'm temporarily putting, like, it's almost like she's aware that George is using Needle as a symbol, and she chooses to put it away.
Yeah.
Like, I have to bury myself for a bit and do this other thing, but I know where I am. I'm literally located under this stone on this stairway in Bravos, and I'll go get it. And she can put it away and bring it back when she needs to, and that's alarmingly effective, I think, for being, one of the members of the House of Black and White.
Yes. Yeah. Because, obviously there's a lot. The House of Black and White, the Faceless Men, have there's a lot of themes of identity going on there. And there are consistent themes of identity.
Yeah.
In Arya's arc, not just for Arya, actually, all the Starks. So when we cover the Starks, we talk a lot about their identity because, well, the three specifically, Arya, Sansa, and Bran, hiding their identity, hiding who they are, getting separated from their family, and
and for Jon, probably not
too.
including him but he's searching for it. It's always, even though you could argue he's actually got the strongest sense of self of any of them. He knows exactly who he is.
Yeah,
he just doesn't know who he is.
Yeah, exactly. He knows who he is. He doesn't know who he is.
Right.
I like it. I mean, it's a theme for a lot of our characters. I mean, Danny struggles with it too, but I think it's really strong in the Starks and in the Stark adjacent people. Theon, for instance, there's loads of identity issues, which we could fill hours and hours talking about that.
Let's do it.
Someday someone's going to bring a Theon chapter to LG. Some brave soul is going to claim a Theon chapter as their favorite.
Listen, don't call me for that one.
No, all right.
I love Theon, but I can't plumb those depths.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, I look forward to it. I don't know who it's going to be, but I promise someone's going to do it someday. So
I hope so.
So, but not today. Today is not the day we talk about Theon. So what about beyond identity? It's not just about her identity, though. Needle. It's about, you had some thoughts here about what else it is other than.
Well, I think it's mostly about identity. I don't want to bury that thought, because I think that is mostly it. But I think there is a sense of, when she has it, she's kind of taking ownership and direction and control. And I think the idea here is that she gets it back, and she's about to go on her own.
Mhm.
In the Mercy chapter, she is seizing it and about to again kind of choose to be the one in control of her destiny rather than just being a part of this troop.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going to happen after the Mercy chapter, but it very much feels to me like she's burned that bridge and she's got to move on. Like she's killed out of contract in a very planned and vengeful way. I
Yeah.
don't think they're going to look highly on that. So I feel like she's going to have to move on. So it's like it's a sense of power and ownership of her own situation. Maybe.
Yeah.
Also.
No, I think if you look back to sort of the beginning of or Needle's history, John gave it to her. And I think in that sense, it is, so it's very tied in with her Stark identity, with her family, but also he gave it to her as, it was exactly that too, just giving her some sort of ownership over herself where
Yes.
where she wasn't having to do actual needlework, just a way for her to seize herself. And obviously when her father allows her to start taking lessons with it, that's kind of the same thing. She's
Yes.
along with the help, but with the help of her father and Syrio Forel, she's more controlling herself, her direction, where what she's doing with her days. She's not just sitting with Septim Ordain.
Yeah. Yeah, they expect her to take a certain path while she's there. And Needle and her father, to give credit to Ned, kind of empower her to do something else, to be her own person, and to take control of her path.
Yeah. So that's, Needle is complex and it's very tied up in who Arya is. So it's very exciting. Anytime Needle comes back onto the page, we are pumping our fists. So,
we love it.
We do. We love those moments.
We love the needlework.
Yeah. So so we're gonna go. Okay, we're gonna skip that. Did we talk about the list? We didn't really. Let's talk about the list.
Yeah,
we
not in
we
detail.
did, but let's
We
talk
did a
about
little
more. Yeah. She says the time in this chapter where we see her say her prayer at night. 3 people, all in one go. 3 people, and actually mostly a 4th just fall off the list. So now her list is literally 4 people. Just that's it, 4 people.
Yeah. Life comes at you fast, and if you blink, you could miss it. Yeah, I mean, I feel like if she just went away and lived a happy life somewhere, she'd find out eventually that list was 0, and she could be happy with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, she finds out, 3 off in one go. You're right.
Yeah. Plus Sandor.
Plus
why? Yeah.
Sandor.
This is the big question, obviously, about this scene. Why does she leave Sandor out? She thinks about Micah. We said that when we were doing the summary. She hadn't really known him that long. And maybe implying that she knows Sandor better. She spent a lot more time with him. And maybe her guilt over Micah's death, which she really has very much put upon herself, is tempered by her newly complicated feelings for Sandor Clegane.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think, it feels something like empathy to me. Arya has always been, not always, kind of always. She's pretty much she's a hard, conditioned girl. She's had to be as she's grown up in these conditions. And she's built this list off people that have wronged her that, she kind of perceives as quote unquote bad. And even, we mentioned in the summary, even in this chapter, she says that Sandor is one of them. And like, I should kill him in my sleep. In the middle of the battle scene, when she's like going to defend him, well, right before the battle scene, I guess, when she's going to defend him, she's like, I should kill that guy. He's terrible. But now, no. I mean, I think you're right. She's spent more time with him. She's still so young. She's
Mhm.
still so young, LG. But she's maybe starting to get context that like people are not bad or good. It's a spectrum, and he's a
Mhm.
butcher, but he's not just a butcher.
Yeah. Yeah. Does she recognize that he saved her life? There's some words that come up later, you know, when she
Yeah,
when she walks away, which we're going to talk about this more in a minute, but um do you think that she does, recognize that he saved her, and maybe even more than once?
I'm sure he saved her more than once.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. I don't know whether she's got so much baggage with him that she can't really admit something that powerful, that strong.
Mhm.
Because, yeah, that might result in permanent removal from the list. I'm not sure she's willing to
Right.
give him that, right?
Yeah. Right. I agree.
But
Um
it'd be a hard thing not to recognize.
yeah,
So maybe it's one of those things she's burying.
maybe she's sort of like giving it, like, instead of, well, he saved my life, well, he um yeah, he
He
fed
only
me
had to
dinner
save
or
because he put me
something. Yeah.
there.
Yeah, exactly. There's
Yeah.
some qualification on that, I
Justification.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah, at this point. Um, so before we go into more about this, I want to just diverge, because there's a moment when, um, at the beginning, when they're getting their news update, where she's told that Sansa changed into a wolf with big leather wings and flew away. And Arya later, she thinks a little bit later, I wish I could change into a wolf and grow wings and fly away. Now, the funny thing is, she can change into a wolf. She hasn't quite recognized that yet. Um, Sansa probably could too if she had a wolf. But what strikes me about both of those sentences is that Bran, their brother, is the winged wolf. I mean, that's how he's referred to by the Three-Eyed Crow, by
Hmm.
Jojen Reed. He is the winged wolf. So, is this imagery intentional? Is it as simple as, does it mean something? Does it mean the Starks flying away from their problems, or what is it? What?
Yeah. In Bran's case, he's the winged wolf because I've always thought of this as
Mhm.
he's a Stark, so he's a wolf.
Mhm.
But he's got the three-eyed raven
Yeah.
stuff, and so
Yeah.
he's winged as well. So it's
Yeah.
more like a metaphorical use of the word wolf.
Yeah.
Uh, they're talking about Sansa literally like turning into a wolf and flying,
Mhm.
um, and Arya being jealous of that. I don't have a ton about it other than I feel like Arya and Sansa are trying to escape things, and
Mhm.
Bran is actively running, always actively running toward a destiny where he matters.
Mhm.
And Sansa
Mhm.
and Arya, I feel like, are constantly being chased
Yeah.
and trying to get away. And so I
Mhm.
don't know what that means. I don't know if it's profound, but
I don't know either. I think it's interesting that all three of them are described, Bran obviously in a much more meaningful way, but they're all described, or, well, Arya is just wishing
yep.
to become a winged wolf. Maybe it's just a cool visual.
I would love to see that visual in some sort of media somewhere because a winged wolf sounds really cool.
Yes. On the trio of them as winged wolves would be amazing.
I
So,
mean, we had winged monkeys in Wizard of Oz.
yeah.
Seems like winged wolves would be cooler, although no opposable thumbs. So, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Maybe not as useful.
Yes.
Uh, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're trying to get in on the winged sigil
Hmm.
party that all the other cool people have. So They don't have dragons.
No, yeah. I just want to fly like dragons can. I have these
Yeah.
cool wolves, but
But I'm stuck being a wolf.
let's
so-
bring it up. Let's bring it up a notch. Flying
Maybe
wolves.
John is the winged. Maybe John is a winged wolf too.
Ooh.
Think about that because he's both. So interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I don't know. Maybe this doesn't mean anything yet, but it's going somewhere.
Yes.
We'll just keep our eyes on it
You
for
gotta
another 10 years.
keep
and
linking the puzzle pieces together.
See what happens.
When we're 80, we'll do another one of these streams.
Come back here
And-
in 20. Oh God. Please, George. Please save us.
Come on, man. We love you.
You can do it. So now I guess we go back to mercy. Yeah. Sandor asks for mercy. So they're, here at the end of all things, Sandor is dying under a tree. She's got a blade. She just killed the kid yesterday with said blade.
Mhm.
So he asks her, do you remember where the heart is? Just like he did with the squire. And she's like, no,
Yeah.
don't want to do it. So he goes into this big Micah thing where he's obviously trying to bait her into being so full of rage that she's just gonna come flying at him and stab him to death. Maybe like she did with the tickler. Maybe he's just at the point where he's like, fine, stab me 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Just don't leave me here to die. He has very good reason to believe that this Micah gambit will work. Because if we go back to the cave scene with the Brotherhood when he fights with oh my God.
Barrick.
Help me. Beric Dondarrion.
It's all right.
Yeah, we were saying before we've gotten older and that's
Yeah.
sometimes names just
Sometimes they
I
just
don't even
fly
remember my
away.
kids' names sometimes though. So
Sure.
no
I
offense.
confuse mine all the time.
Yeah. But in that scene, she tries to kill him. She goes after him, screaming about Micah. You killed Micah. Well, that's actually what led to his trial with Beric was Arya trying to kill him and accusing him of killing Micah.
Yeah, she levies the only real crime that they've got against him, right? In that
Yeah,
scene.
they're basically going to have to let him go because they don't have anything.
Everything's
they give everyone a
hearsay.
trial. Yep, they don't. Yeah, and he's like, I didn't do any of the things that you are accusing me of because they accuse him of everything that his brother has done and the Lannisters and the Mountains Men and all of them. It's all getting laid on him, and he's saying, "No, wait, this is bullshit. I didn't do any of that stuff." And they're starting to be like, "You know what? You're right. That's not fair."
Yeah, we can't prove it at least.
That's not fair. We can't prove that you had anything to do with that. But then along comes Arya spitting nails over Micah. So Sandor has very good reason to believe that him bringing up Micah and taunting her with it. So I don't think he really means the taunting at this point. He just wants her to kill him.
He's aiming for the result. Yeah.
Yep. But it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't work.
I think it doesn't work for the reasons we kind of talked about a little bit earlier, right? She's seen him, as a different person. She's experienced him a little bit more, and her opinion of him has grown, in her estimation. Maybe she does recognize that he saved her. Yeah.
Yeah. But she looks at him after all this, and he gives this whole other. He starts crying. He's talking about Sansa and how he should have. He didn't. She didn't kiss him. He stole the kiss, and maybe he should have just taken her right then and there. And he's like,
going all out.
He's just trying to do anything to get a reaction from her. And she just kind of coldly looks at him and says, "You don't deserve the gift of mercy."
Yeah, so he went too far. Like she's like, "You don't deserve mercy.
You don't deserve it." So, is it over? Is it because she just is disgusted and can't be bothered with giving him the gift of mercy, or does it have something to do with the Stark thing? The man who passes the sentence should swing the sword. If you take a man's life, you owe it to him to look into his eyes and hear his final words, which she has done. And if you cannot bear to do that, then perhaps the man does not deserve to die. This isn't so much about mercy. This is stark justice. But she is certainly, just like her siblings, we have to be sure that she is aware of this lesson and that this sort of principle in her family is part of their honor. So,
yeah, I mean, I think we saw it earlier in this chapter that she delivers that justice to the tickler, right? I think
yes,
she's judged him, she's delivered it.
Yep.
And maybe it's almost like justice and mercy or something. I don't know what the element is, competing against each other. I think you can easily argue that Sandor deserves to die here and deserves even to be relieved of his pain and die, with less struggle. I think you could make that argument.
Yeah.
But I think Arya's beyond thinking that he needs justice. Maybe he deserves it, but I don't think she's now beyond thinking that he needs it. Does he deserve mercy? He's been okay to her. I think it's a very vague question in her brain. She's usually so decisive, to be honest. When she's presented with something, maybe she bites her lip, but she makes a choice and she goes. This is a hard one for her. And justice, mercy, none, let it play out. She's waffling. I think it's very conflicting in her head.
Tremendous amount of cognitive dissonance.
Yes.
Around Sandor Clegane.
Yeah. Well put. Yeah. I was reminded as I was reading this and trying to respond to this stark justice stuff of Lord of the Rings, in which Gandalf says, "My heart tells me that he has some part to play yet, for good or ill, before the end. And when that comes, the pity of Bilbo may rule the fate of many, yours not least." That Arya has stayed her hand here for some reason. I'm not sure it's pity, as it is in Lord of the Rings.
Right.
But it's something. And there's gonna... George is a master. There's gonna be an impact from this choice.
Yes.
And I would bet my bottom dollar that it will have some impact to Arya directly as well.
I would too. I will go out on a limb with this and say that it's long been my opinion that Sandor's arc is much more closely tied to Arya Stark than Sansa Stark. So, we'll see. But I think hopefully
I like it.
We will. But I think, I think George, that's a great, I love that you brought that up, because I think a lot of times at key moments, George is in conversation with his idol, J.R.R. Tolkien, who he famously said, and he repeated it recently. I saw some reports from one of his Worldcon panels where he said, when he first read Tolkien, he thought, I could never write like this.
Yeah.
Like, how could I? He just has so much admiration, not just for the story, but for the craft that Tolkien has. So, yeah, I think for sure, given that a lot of times George's conversation is, he's leaning into the dark side of things, where Tolkien is leaning into the light. But I think you're absolutely right that this is going to come back, and that's probably in his mind as he's writing this.
It is strange to compare the hulking behemoth Sandor to the quiet, skulking Gollum, but it's still it struck me.
I was just going to say that too. Like somehow Sandor becomes the Gollum.
Yeah. Listen, my comparisons are rarely good and almost never perfect.
I think Yoke Boy is gonna love that one because he loves Gollum. So
Good.
So I asked a little bit ago if we thought that she recognized that Sandor saved her life at the Twins.
Yeah.
There's this moment when as she's walking away, this is sort of like her parting shot.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't have hit me with an axe. You should have saved my mother. He really saved her life at the Twins. So on the one hand, she could just be wholly unaware of it, but she could also be consciously rejecting that life debt. I reject that. You didn't save me. You hit me. And also, then she adds in this, almost from the context of what it is, this you should have saved my mother. Is sort of, there's no way he could have saved her mother, and she knows that, but she's trying to convince herself that that it was actually bad when it was actually
it almost reads to me like she's trying to convince herself that it's okay to leave.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't save my mother. She admitted in the previous chapter when they were at the village, she has a dream in which Nymeria goes, as Warren put it earlier in the chat, goes fishing. And she knows that her mother is dead now and they don't want to go back. And I think she's come to terms with the fact that there's probably nothing they could have done. I feel like she knows that. I don't know why I feel that, but I feel like she does.
I agree. Yeah.
And it's almost like she's just giving herself one more little spur to keep going. You should have saved my mother. I can leave on that. It's like when I've lost an argument with someone and I throw something back in their face.
Yeah.
Even though it's
shot.
It's low, it's low and below the belt and like they don't deserve it. You just throw something in there to give yourself a little feel good at the end,
Yeah, I like that because it definitely feels like she's like just got to give herself one more justification for walking away from this guy, and it's he didn't save my mother,
right?
Even though we know that there was no chance, no choice there. So
no chance, no choice.
I had to bring that.
Another
Yeah.
Here we are, the same place.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So she leaves him for dead.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to ask, does she actually, in leaving him for dead, kill the Hound while allowing Sandor to live on, perhaps to be saved? This is sort of the background language of the Gravedigger theory. The Hound is dead. Sandor Clegane is at rest. That's the language in the Brienne chapter when she sees the Hound on the Quiet Isle. So did Arya actually kill the Hound?
Yes and no. So I don't know if we give her credit for it. She's assuming he'll die when she leaves.
Yeah.
She, was leaving him for dead. I don't think she was thinking, you're going to go ahead and get revived and have a second life where you just do nice labor digging graves with your hulking massive frame.
Mm-hmm.
But to a degree, she does. I mean, I'd love to know what happens between Elder Brother and the Hound when he finds him. I'd love to just kind of read that. If George, if you want to just write that up, like a little 2 paragraphs and just kind of throw it on your blog, I'd love to read just that little scene. But I think he dies in a way I think more like the Elder Brother kind of revives him. But I guess she did her part in killing him. She made sure that he didn't die by not giving him mercy. So I guess so.
So I think and I'm sure people will correct me if I'm wrong, but I think on her list she refers to him as the Hound. So
She does.
I think in that sense, and in the sense that
Yes.
the elder brother implies, she kills the Hound because now the Hound is dead, I guess.
Yes.
And she's given Sandor the chance to be just Sandor. I don't know.
Yeah. She definitely. I don't know. Again, I don't know if she intended to, but
Was it intentional or not? Is the
but
big
she
debate,
has.
right?
Yeah. But she has.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you wonder. I do. Davos Fingers used to do these little what if episodes.
Yes.
We only did a handful of them, but they were pretty fun.
Yep.
What if Robert had lost on the Trident? I think was the first one. we did a few. And like the threads that extend. Anyway, the threads that extend are massive from any of them. But in this case, what if she just hung out and tried to make sure he stayed alive? Because it's not probably that long that the elder brother, it could have been hours that he stumbles along and finds him. We have no idea.
Close to death at this point.
Right. Yeah, I don't think he's going to make it days,
Right.
So if she just hung out a little bit, she could have been, carrying wheelbarrows of grave dirt right along with him, right? And and getting, honey mead and having a different kind of life.
And then, lo and behold, Brienne of Tarth would show up and
finds her.
I mean, just it's amazing. It is amazing. I like the what if. I like to look at it like that in terms of like the things that balance on the edge of a knife, which is a lot of things. It's kind of like the crossroads, you get to a point where things could go one way and it's often so close to going the right way.
So close.
Close. And then it doesn't. Yeah. So I like that idea. Arya having a nice life on the Quiet Isle. Nice quiet life.
It's the more and more I think about all of these characters that I love, it's what I want for all of them. I remember saying about Tyrion too, and Tyrion is awful in all of his awful ways. He's also super special in a lot of ways too. But could the guy just relax to a library on a river and just read and be not malicious and terrible? Probably. There is a best life for all of these characters somewhere. Right. And it usually involves getting away from all the crap.
It does.
Get as far away from the Iron Throne as you can.
Yep, exactly. Iron Throne, bad. Game of Thrones, bad. Yeah. So we leave Sandor under a tree, and someday someone will bring that Brienne chapter to us as their favorite, and we'll find out what happened to Sandor for reals. But until now, he must lie under the tree, perishing of a fever, because Arya rides away, and 6 days later gets to Salt Pans. This town is pretty grim. The town has been burned, raided during War of the Five Kings, probably by both sides, even though it's part of someone's I don't even know if it's Crown Lands, maybe it probably is. But anyways, everything has been visibly disrupted life in this town. But she does manage to find a horse trader, and she, as we get a lot in Arya's chapters, she learns a little lesson about people, and we learn a little lesson about her when she knows that she's going to get cheated. And like I mentioned before, her first thought, the first thing that comes into her mind is, maybe I should just kill her.
Yeah.
That's your default.
That's alarming that's so quick to her brain.
Yeah. That
killing is an option immediately. And yeah, the kids aren't all right.
Yeah. No. I think it's such a red flag, and it is 100% breathtaking that a 10-year-old girl is just murders option one.
Yeah.
Just, peacefully accepting the situation is like way far down the list.
It has worked for her before,
That's the thing.
and
Yeah,
so,
that's
and
the
so
thing.
it becomes option one.
Yeah, exactly. So
Ugh.
she's kind of ticked off because she knows that this horse trader woman would never have cheated Sandor. And I
Totally.
think here's the lesson is that she's learning about how powerless people are treated,
Hmm.
um, and also how that she is powerless, in fact.
Yeah. Yeah. She knows. She's aware that she's powerless. She
Hmm.
has that.
Yeah,
Why am I being cheated? She
yeah,
knows because
yeah.
I'm powerless. I don't have
So
any
it's
leverage in this world.
in spite of the fact that she's just kind of taken back her power and had this really dramatic moment
Hmm.
of killing people and getting
Hmm.
vengeance and all this stuff, she's still at the end of the day she rides away from that and she goes back to just being this bedraggled little girl that
Hmm.
nobody would ever believe anything other than that she is just some bedraggled homeless kid wandering
Hmm.
around with no family, nothing to speak of. So
Completely.
she basically thinks that she realizes that sometimes you just have to take what the world is giving you.
Yes.
And
There's a pragmatism within her too that's just like,
yeah,
okay, like that's what it's gonna be, you
yep,
know.
I'm
I can't
cheated.
kill her, so
Yeah,
this
sadly,
is
I
what it
can't
is.
kill her, so I
Yeah.
just have to take what she's offering and move on. So she moves on to um, the Titan's daughter, Jacob's
Mhm.
coin, Valor Morgulis. Not just passage on this ship, but an entire cabin. What does the first time reader think is going on here? Imagine
Well,
2000 to
I'm a
2005.
many time reader and I still don't really know what's going on.
It's fair.
Like why if you happen to okay, I have questions and thoughts
Hmm.
and I don't know how long you
Yep.
want to spend on it, but like I can imagine if you gave this coin to a member of this order, that it'd be like,
Hmm.
"Oh, wink, wink. Okay,
Yeah.
here we
Yep.
go. I
Yep.
understand." But it's more like the presence of the House in Black and White and these agents that they have,
Hmm.
uh, ha- like that presence just kind of permeates through that region. Doesn't really extend all the way through Westeros exactly, but that people from Bravos know it's almost like don't want to mess with it.
Yeah.
Whatever you say.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know the rules. I'm not ingrained in it, but I know enough to know not to do something that
Hmm.
upsets you.
Hmm.
You've used the magic words, but it does make me think. Like, why wouldn't everyone just use the words to
Yeah.
get away with stuff?
Um, I would think because we learn when she's on that ship and everyone sort of tells her their names.
Hmm.
Um, you learn later, of course, much later, that that's because the faceless men can't kill someone that they know.
Mm.
So they all take great pains to
To get to
tell
know,
to,
yeah,
to
right,
tell their name. I am
yes,
Teresio whatever the guy's name was.
yes,
Um, it makes you wonder, does everyone on Bravos just
know each
run
other.
around being like, "Hello,
Yeah,
I'm Lady Gwyn. Remember that name, please."
yeah,
Just in case, just covering the bases. I mean, I would be, I don't
you're
know,
right. Let's make sure I'm safe. I'm going to introduce myself to everyone I meet,
every single person I
and
meet will know my name at least.
yeah,
Therefore, yeah, I don't know. Just
of course, jokes on them because Arya kills whoever the hell she wants.
exactly. So she doesn't exactly follow the rules. Even better if she does know your name because
Yes, right,
you know,
and says it every night.
and then
Yeah,
she's like, "Oh, okay, I know where you are on the list." So,
yes, exactly. Let's get this
yeah.
prioritized.
So that's it. She's off. She's gonna sail to Bravos. We've said this a few times. It takes 5 years for her to get there. Ha ha ha.
Ha.
Hardy har.
Hmm.
That's a reference to how long it took from this book being finished to the next book. And of course, those people probably felt very put upon for waiting 5 years, but Joke's on
Not as
them.
put upon as we all
Joke's on
feel
us.
now.
Joke's on us.
Arya's been in
Exactly.
training for 15 years.
15 years. And as we
Uh,
were saying, sorry, I lost my back support. I'm trying to adjust it. Yeah, as we were saying, Bran's been dangling from a rope for basically 20 years, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
So incredible. Incredible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
There was a question in chat from
Yep.
Mary Laura Newman who says,
Mhm.
could someone like Jaqen disguise himself as a child like Arya? Which brings up a interesting point about the people on the ship. Are they worried that she's actually a faceless man?
Right.
Because they could disguise themselves. Like, they change their face. Can they change to that level?
I don't know. Like,
I know we have the waif, of course,
Waif,
and
who's
yeah,
diminutive.
small. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, and she's an adult, so but it's not clear that she's that's the result of I don't think it's the result of any sort of disguise or fate,
Yeah. Right.
magic. I think that's just who she is because of her background.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, that is a great question. Or maybe they don't know the mechanism by which faceless men
they're just being safe.
Just covering the bases.
Dot the I's, cross the T's.
Somehow this little drowned rat has got one of those coins and she knows the words.
Mm-hmm. So we accommodate.
Yeah. They didn't make the rules. They're just following, I guess. Yeah. So that's the final question. The golden question.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you choose this chapter?
Yeah, I feel like we covered a lot of it already.
We did.
And I wrote a novel. I don't know if everyone always writes a novel.
Yes, because people have passionate ideas or reasons for why they love certain chapters. So absolutely. Yeah.
The first thing about this chapter that I love is right at the very beginning, and I mentioned it already, the "they know him" line that just gets you immediately more engaged. Mm-hmm. You sit forward, you're like, this is going to be special. And you don't look up from the page until you're through with at least that little part of the chapter. Mm-hmm. You don't look up. You're like engaged. It's a really special thing George can do that not every author can do. And I just love that in this chapter, as I love in many of the chapters. The bar fight itself, I'm not usually like a big battle guy. It's not something I'm really seeking of, these really detailed fights, but this one is written so well. I can picture everything that's happening, every upswing, every down cut, every move, kicking the bench and hitting the shins. I can just picture kind of all of it. And yeah, again, I don't usually go into the battle stuff with that much excitement, but this one's so well done.
Yeah.
Agree. But above and beyond that, I'm an Arya fanboy. It's just such an important step in her journey in so many ways, dealing with her trauma from the village and the tickler, with that very cathartic, but also like it's clear she's not really dealing with this stuff scene where she's yelling, how many? Is there gold in the village?
Oh yeah.
It's just it just makes your hair stand up reading that. It's one of my favorite moments in the whole series. Regaining the Stark identity, like we talked about with Needle, and how it's kind of come back to being more aware and directive in her own, her own destiny. Very important. She goes to be, truly on her own for the first time when she leaves Sandor. She was on her own in King's Landing for a little bit, for a little while, but really for the first time out in the world on her own, truly. And then, the internal journey, the prayer list, everything her beautiful little mind is trying to get through as she realizes why she's adding and subtracting people from her list. this poor little revenge brain. It's just so good. That's it, I guess. I love the chapter so much.
That is beautifully said. And
Thank you.
yeah, I agree with you. I love this chapter too. I said that at the beginning, and I'm going to let it sit there with your reasons because that's why we're here. So thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's such an
yeah,
honor to talk with you guys every chance I get.
Oh, I'm so pleased you could be here, and thank you to the viewers here watching the stream, or whether if you're listening to the pre-recorded version or the soon-to-be released audio-only version. We appreciate you very much. Thanks, as always, for your support. We've been doing this for a long time. We're all dug in, waiting for the next the next
Please.
phase in our. But yeah, we appreciate y'all sticking with us, and we still keep finding things to talk about. So we're all good. We're good. So, Scad, I got to ask you, got any plans for the upcoming year? Because I want to say that, I'm sure I said this at the outset, but Davos Fingers is your sort of like your Song of Ice and Fire project, but it is currently on hiatus.
Yeah, we're on hiatus.
Yep.
Matt's got stuff in his life kind of demanding his attention, which I totally get.
Yep.
I love Matt. He loves me. He and I we're in a fine place. We don't really talk much because life, but
Yep.
yeah, we're on hiatus. In the meantime, I'm trying to get into something else. I am a big Dungeons and Dragons D&D player. I'm a follower of
Love
Critical Role, which is a play cast series that they promote, which is huge. You guys probably heard of it. I am looking as they start their fourth campaign in a couple of weeks. I'm looking to do some live reaction stuff with a new channel that I'm starting called Before the Long Rest. It is yet to launch. Yes. Oh, look at the link. It's there. Before the Long Rest, starting very soon. Still kind of in its infancy. Nothing out yet. But look for it in a couple of weeks when that campaign kicks off.
Keep your eyes on that.
I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
A little bit of
I'll
a
say
pivot.
I'll say it out loud at beforethelongrest.bluesky.social.
Yes.
Just for people who are listening to audio only. And of course, all this stuff will be in our show notes too. So.
And just created in the last couple of days. So I'm following like 3 people and no one's following me.
Go follow. I will be. As soon as we get off this, I will be following. So.
Great.
All right. What else?
Also guesting on Star Wars Legends Lounge. My friend Aaron runs that podcast, and I love Star Wars. This is a Legends focused podcast where we talk about non-canon books. And I'm covering that with Aaron and a few of our other friends, Jay and Kat, jump in for some episodes too. So
all great people.
Yes, all great people, and it's a lot of fun. So I'm actually recording Monday night for that. So very shortly.
All right. So Star Wars, Critical Role, and you also obviously Davos Fingers being on hiatus doesn't mean that you don't have a huge back catalog of Song of Ice and Fire content.
If you want to hear me drone on and on about Arya and other characters, go check out the Davos Fingers back catalog. Yes,
it's still there. Yes,
it's there.
It always will be there for posterity.
We hope.
Great. Well, thank you.
Thank you so much also for having me. Like, it's really, I'm really grateful.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm so happy. Thank you. As far as Radio Westeros, next up for us, we're going to be releasing soon, we hope, Bran 3, which is the conclusion of our analysis of Bran Stark's arc. This is A Storm of Swords and A Dance with Dragons. We've just been going chapter by chapter. And it's exciting because we've never covered Bran, except for just briefly when we did our Winds of Winter primer. So yeah, then following that, we have also another character, point of view character that we've never covered. There are still point of view characters we've never covered. We've been doing this for a long time. So later this year, we have an episode coming out all about Quentin Martell. So those will be on the next couple of months, and I will be back here in this space in November with another LG and Friends live stream in which another friend, and I can tell you now that it's going to be Tanya from A Thousand Eyes in One podcast, bringing her favorite chapter for us to dissect. And still don't know what the chapter is, but I guarantee it'll be good because they're all good. We love them all. So thank you so much once again to all of you folks watching. Thanks to all our patrons, to Scad. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That really helps us a lot here on YouTube. You can find us on Blue Sky at radiowesteros.com. And if you want to be a patron, we humbly ask for you to check out patreon.com/radiowesteros. Thank you so much again. And we will see you all again soon. Bye for now.